Welcome to the session on fast and smart AI-driven modernization. We will explore how Hunkemöller, with over 750 stores in 12 countries, took a bold step to modernize a business-critical legacy application. Together with Karsten Rappit and Jan from Hunkemöller, we will discover why acting quickly is essential, what the hidden risks of not making a choice are, and which new opportunities are triggered by modernization. You will also see how AI and a developer-in-the-loop approach can completely change the game. And our main takeaway, what normally takes years was achieved in just a few months. So spend some minutes with us to find out. So Karsten, when companies keep on running on legacy systems, what's the real danger of not choosing to modernize? So what have you seen in the market?
Yeah, actually what we see is companies that want to grow, of course, but they can't because the system is not actually letting them. You want to innovate, you want to scale, and that's the most important thing. You want to grow, you want to scale, but you can't because you have a system that's really letting you down. There's no way you can interact or communicate with other systems because you have a very outdated systems which will not let you. Then those companies get stuck, they cannot grow, although they have the brightest, best ideas. If you just have a legacy system and you don't do anything, you can't do anything, yeah, you're really stuck.
You're really stuck, and probably security is also an issue.
That's an issue, yes, and sometimes also compliance. If things get outdated, if there are no developers, yeah, you have to do something.
Jan-Willem, what was Hunkemöller's situation with the store information database you used at that time? Why did you feel that a rebuild was urgent?
Yeah. First and foremost, the technology that was used for our old store information database was end of life. So we had a real need to replace it. But together with that, we also had the problem that the tool we were using was a kind of a standard tool, and that tool was very inefficient. So as said in the introduction, we have 750 stores, and there was no mass updates possible. There was no import-export possibility. So yeah, with that, we wanted to make a big step to introduce a proper solution. And I also recognize what was mentioned before. Security was also an issue. For example, modern technologies like single sign-on were not supported in the old solution. So that's why we were looking for something new.
Okay, cool. So Karsten, if not making the choice to modernize legacy applications sounds risky, what do you see as the biggest impact both in IT and in business?
Yeah. To look at both those areas, the main challenge is the maintenance costs. You really have to keep maintaining a system you don't like, you don't want to work with, but yeah, you're stuck with it. So you kind of lose control of what you can do with it, what you have to do with it. Which bring in also a lot of additional costs that you have to calculate. And of course, the lack of innovation. You cannot move forward, and the fact that you cannot move forward is also costing your business the ability to grow. And that is a huge risk that we see, as well as the fact that it's not possible to update those systems. The developers sometimes are not there. Support contracts are very limited, so you really get stuck.
It's not a fun situation to be in.
No.
Jan-Willem, if you hadn't acted, what would be the biggest impact areas for Hunkemöller? So where did you feel that the business would start to hurt most?
Yeah, what we've seen is due to the limitation of the old system, the data became inconsistent. So downstream, where all this store information is used, we simply had wrong information. So there was a lot of manual corrections needed, or even worse, we were acting with wrong data in downstream systems, which caused a lot of rework, a lot of incidents that happened. So we really need to improve that part of the solution.
Okay, makes sense. So Karsten, on the positive side, how can modernization actually unlock new capabilities and create opportunities that legacy systems can't deliver?
So basically, like Jan-Willem is saying, you want to have the correct data at the right time, at the right place. In order to do that, you have to simplify your legacy application as much as possible, and from that start with new innovations in small pieces. like a service-oriented structure. Not one big application, but smaller applications that in future can also be more easily be replaced. Because if you have a legacy system, and you're going to replace the legacy system, you do not want to replace one legacy system with another.
Exactly.
So you have to work with smaller applications to basically unlock your challenge.
That's the AI first, or the API first discussion.
Yes. You start with a service-oriented structure, making sure that with APIs you can connect and interact with all these applications.
So, Jan-Willem, looking back, what concrete benefits has modernization brought to Hunkemöller's retail operation and customer experience? And did the API first strategy work for you?
Yes, for sure. Again, getting back to the data inconsistency, since the solutions are now set up properly, and there are a lot of checks and controls by entering information and by processing the information downstream, we don't have to worry about that anymore. And with regards to the API first approach, in the old solution, we could only export the data in a certain outdated format. We need to do all kinds of tricks to make that work for all the other downstream systems. Now we can retrieve the data real time from that new app environment and have it in the right format, on the right moment in the systems where needed. So that's a big step forward for us.
It's definitely a big step forward. Okay. So, Karsten, now let's dive down a little bit into the how. So, which modernization paths deliver the fastest ROI? It's business. So, and how does AI-led change the process?
Yes. So now we live in the world of AI using the AI capabilities, where the usual process is that very technical people used to dive into systems. But nowadays, and I'm not saying you have to use it in all situations, but nowadays it's more easy to let AI do that. So what you can do is basically let AI look at your current systems, look at your current documentation, and basically create a prototype for an application, like a part of your ERP system, a part of your legacy system. Basically use AI for a jump start to create an application quickly.
I like the word jump start. But how does that look in detail?
How does that look in detail? Well, first of all, we start by adding documentation related to your current system into the AI tool. Then, of course, the data model, if it's possible, we fetch it and we put it into the system with the knowledge of years we have with Rappit in the world of ERP. We have all put it in there. And basically, we can then generate an application. You can even type on generative AI like a chat. Like, I need an application that needs to do this, and needs to do that. We put it all into our AI model, and then we really generate the application. Of course, you have then maybe a technical working something, a solution, an application, but then it's good to have what we call a developer in the loop approach, where you can actually say, I have an application, it does something, but please look with me to review, to verify if what I'm doing is okay, because, hey, it's an important business application. Yep. You want to make sure. And by that, we continuously improve until you have really an application in no time, I have to say, that you really can use for your business.
To make this a bit more tangible, let's have a look at a short demo. And in this demo, you see how Rappit AI can actually read existing legacy screens and instantly transform that information into a blueprint for a brand new modern application.
Hey there! Have you ever looked at a legacy application and wished you could modernize it easily? What if you could do it in just a few steps? With Rappit Developer, you can. All you have to do is upload a few screenshots of your old application. Rappit Developer's AI will analyze them and automatically suggest a data model for your new application. You'll even get a visual map that shows you how all your data tables are connected. Once you have the data model, you can easily make any changes you want. Add, edit, or delete fields to ensure everything is perfect. When you're ready, you can automatically generate the entire user interface for your application. This includes all the pages, navigation, and core functionality. No need to build everything from scratch. Just click Publish, and in moments, your modern, fully functional application is ready to go. You'll have a clean, updated user interface with all the features from your old system. And if you're a developer who wants to dig in, you can even access and tweak the code to your heart's content. Rappit Developer makes modernizing your applications faster and simpler than you ever imagined.
Okay, so Jan-Willem, can you share some insight you experienced with Hunkemöller on this specific transformation?
Yes, for sure. What was very interesting in this process is that by using the Rappit framework, we were able to create a prototype very fast. Based on the data model of our old store information database, the screens to enter information, to give an overview of all the information, to search the information were generated very, very fast.
Okay.
And with that, it gave us time to put on top of that very specific functionality that cannot be generated automatically, obviously. So the big advantage of this setup is that it's not a standard solution that you need to adhere to and maybe even change your processes to make it work, but the top 20% of the functionality can be really done and you can take the time for that because the basics are already there to continue working on. So that was a very nice approach.
So you could make it the Hunkemöller style.
Exactly, yes.
Cool. So Karsten, if you would to give some advice to your peers, so the other architects watching this one and the people who want to dive into the modernization, what's the simplest way to start without disrupting business, and why choose Rappit for that journey?
Yes, nice question. I'd like to answer that. Of course, what you want is to replace everything at once, but we all know that's not something you easily do. So we always advise to say, simplify what you have, simplify your ERP solution into more logical blocks where possible, and then start by step by step, like a streamlined workflow, simplified workflow to develop that. And like Jan-Willem said, if you choose for our solutions, we do not have vendor lock-in. So you have an application that's somewhere in some moment in time, you can say, I want to put it somewhere else, or I want to manage it myself, if you have developers of your own, for example. So we have no vendor lock-in approach, and we can help you step by step. And of course, with the AI tools we have and our so-called Rappit development toolkit, we can build things faster than the usual standard development.
And don't forget the 45 years of experience we have.
Yes, specifically if you talk about Rappit and our history in the world of ERP, we have all the experience, which we also put in our tooling, including AI, that for sure can help big time. Yes.
Thank you. So finally, Jan-Willem, why did Hunkemöller choose Rappit? What stood out in terms of speed, flexibility, or results?
Yes, I think that's three reasons. First of all, the unique proposition of creating an application with the framework that we have, so giving a head start, a very quick prototype, and continue working on that was very interesting for us. Secondly, already mentioned by Karsten just now, with this solution we don't have a vendor lock-in. That means that the code is generated, runs in our Google environment, so it's not something hosted by Rappit, but it's in our environment, so we can easily build the integrations into the system and extend it. And thirdly, I think that's also important, mentioned already a few times before, it is a solution that runs in the Google platform. So we are a company that uses Google extensively, so that was a great match. So these three arguments, so if I summarize, I would say speed, flexibility, and independence. So that makes that we made the right choice for this solution.
Thank you very much, Jan. Thank you, Karsten. And thank you for sharing your experience. So it was an insightful session, and it really showed what was possible when you take the leap. Now, if you're wondering how this could look in your own organization, we would like to invite you to an assessment workshop. In that workshop, we will work with you to explore your legacy landscape and even show you live how our AI can read your existing screens and instantly generate a new modern application. It's the same approach you've seen today in the demo: practical, fast, and future-ready. So don't let legacy hold you back. Take the first step with us and discover how quickly your own modernization journey can begin.